Before we begin, I need you to promise me something. Stay until the very end, because what happened after she whispered, "Pretend you're my husband," didn't just shock the boardroom, it changed 3 lives forever. And if stories about second chances, courage, and unexpected love move you, make sure you like this video and subscribe to the channel. You never know which story might be the one that speaks directly to your heart. Daniel Brooks never imagined his ordinary Tuesday afternoon would collide with the world of private jets and billion-dollar mergers. He was a single father, a mechanic who smelled permanently of engine oil and peppermint gum, the kind he chewed to stay awake during double shifts. His entire world revolved around his 6-year-old daughter, Lily, whose laughter was the only music he needed. 3 years earlier, Daniel had buried his wife after a sudden illness. The grief had nearly broken him. There were nights he sat on the kitchen floor long after Lily had fallen asleep, wondering how he could possibly be both mother and father. But every morning, Lily would run into his arms, and he would remind himself that love was stronger than exhaustion. On that Tuesday, Daniel was at the hospital. Lily had twisted her ankle at school. It wasn't serious, but the nurse insisted on an X-ray. The waiting room was crowded with anxious families and impatient professionals. That's when he noticed her. She stood out without trying. Her charcoal suit was tailored to perfection, her posture straight, her expression composed yet strained. Her name, he would soon learn, was Victoria Hale, CEO of Hale Dynamics, one of the fastest-growing tech corporations in the country. The kind of woman whose decisions moved markets. Victoria wasn't there for herself. She was there for her father, Charles Hale, the company's founder, who had suffered a mild heart attack during an emergency board meeting. The hospital hallway buzzed with whispers from executives glued to their phones. Daniel didn't know any of that. He only noticed that the elegant woman pacing near the vending machine looked like she hadn't slept in days. Their worlds collided when Lily, determined to prove she was brave, attempted to hop on one foot and lost her balance. Victoria reacted instinctively, catching Lily before she hit the ground. "Easy there," Victoria said softly, her voice losing its sharp corporate edge. Daniel rushed over. "I'm so sorry, she's been pretending she's a superhero all day." Victoria smiled faintly. Superheroes are allowed to rest too. Something about her eyes told Daniel she was the one who needed to hear that. Minutes later, Victoria's phone rang again. Her jaw tightened. Daniel tried not to eavesdrop, but her voice rose despite her effort to stay composed. "I told you I'll handle it," she snapped quietly. "No, I don't have time to explain to the board why I'm still single. This merger isn't about my marital status." Daniel looked away, but the words lingered. After she ended the call, she closed her eyes and inhaled sharply. When she opened them, she found Daniel watching her, not with curiosity, but concern. "Are you okay?" he asked gently. It was such a simple question. One no one had asked her in years. She studied him, his worn jacket, the grease under his fingernails, the protective way he held his daughter's hand. An idea sparked in her mind. "Wild, risky, desperate. Can I ask you something completely unreasonable?" she said. Daniel blinked. "That depends on how unreasonable." She hesitated only a second. "Pretend you're my husband." He stared at her, certain he had misheard. "What?" "I need to attend an emergency dinner tonight with potential international investors. They're traditional. They value stability. The board has been pressuring me for months, implying that a single woman isn't trustworthy enough to lead a legacy company." Her voice trembled with anger she had long buried. "If I walk in alone tonight, they'll use it as another excuse to undermine me." Daniel frowned. "And you think a random mechanic from a hospital waiting room is the solution?" "You're not random," she said quietly. "You're devoted. I can see that. I just need someone genuine. No arrogance. No agenda." Lily looked up at her father. "Daddy, are you going to be in a spy mission?" Victoria let out a laugh despite herself. Daniel should have said no. His life was simple, predictable. He didn't belong in 5-star hotels and high-stakes negotiations. But something in Victoria's voice wasn't about business. It was about survival. "What exactly would I have to do?" he asked cautiously. "Stand beside me. Be kind. Look like you believe in me." He looked at Lily. She grinned. "You'd look handsome, Daddy." Against every instinct, Daniel agreed. That night, Daniel stood in a tailored suit Victoria's assistant had rushed to provide. He barely recognized himself in the mirror. Victoria, in a deep blue gown, looked powerful yet vulnerable. The dinner was held on the top floor of a luxury skyscraper. Crystal chandeliers glittered. Conversations hummed in multiple languages. When Victoria entered with Daniel's hand gently resting at her back, the room shifted. Eyes widened, whispers spread. She introduced him calmly. My husband, Daniel. The word lingered between them. Throughout the evening, Daniel did exactly what she asked. He listened more than he spoke. When he did speak, he talked about loyalty, about rebuilding engines piece by piece, about how strength isn't loud, it's consistent. At one point, an investor smirked. So, Mr. Hale, what do you contribute to your wife's empire? Daniel smiled calmly. I remind her she doesn't need one to be extraordinary. Silence followed. Victoria felt something in her chest crack open. By the end of the dinner, the tone had shifted. The investors weren't just impressed with Hale Dynamics. They were impressed with her stability, her grounded partnership. The merger moved forward, but the real shock came days later. Photos from the dinner circulated online. Headlines speculated about the mysterious husband. The board, initially furious at not being informed, quickly changed their tune when stock prices surged due to positive press. Victoria invited Daniel to her office to thank him, and to officially end the arrangement. Yet when he walked in, Lily's drawing clutched in his hand, a stick figure trio labeled, me, Daddy, and Victoria, the atmosphere changed. I told Lily it was pretend, Daniel said quietly. She cried. Victoria swallowed. I never meant to hurt her. She's lost one mother already, he said gently. I can't let her get attached to something temporary. Victoria looked around her massive office. For the first time, it felt empty. Daniel, she said slowly, what if it didn't have to be temporary? He stared at her, searching for corporate strategy in her eyes. He found none, only sincerity. Over the next months, they moved carefully. No headlines, no pretending, just quiet dinners, park visits, homework sessions at the kitchen table. Victoria learned how to braid Lily's hair, badly at first. Daniel learned that strength could wear heels and command a boardroom. The board eventually discovered the relationship was real. Some disapproved. Victoria faced criticism, but this time, she didn't stand alone. During the next shareholders' meeting, she addressed the whispers directly. Yes, I'm in love, she said confidently. And it has made me a better leader, not a weaker one. Daniel watched from the back, Lily holding his hand. Years later, at a company anniversary gala, Victoria stood on stage once more. But this time, there was no pretending when she introduced Daniel as her husband. What shocked everyone wasn't that a CEO married a mechanic. It was that the strongest merger in Hale Dynamics history wasn't a corporate deal, it was a family built on courage, humility, and a hospital waiting room promise. If this story touched you, if it reminded you that love doesn't check resumes or bank accounts, don't forget to like this video and subscribe to the channel. Because sometimes, the most unexpected partnerships are the ones that change everything, and your next favorite story might be just one click away.